2025. So, to my fellow Americans, happy 4th of July, happy Independence Day. I hope you have a happy, healthy, prosperous, and very free 4th of July, wherever you are, whenever you are. So, that said, whatever it is you're doing to celebrate this holiday, or if you're not celebrating for some bizarre reason, I mean, I hope you are, but not everybody can. I get it. Um, let's talk real quick about Bitcoin and the crypto markets, but particularly crypto and Bitcoin specifically. All right, the crypto market overall is doing well. You may not believe it. You may see your favorite altcoins are not quite as high as you want them to be. They may not yet have recovered to their previous all-time highs, but they're doing well. What does that mean? Well, look at the VEPs, look at the volatility, the entropy, the probabilities and statistics. They remain very tradable, liquid assets. Yeah, sure, there's a whole lot of rather illiquid coins. It's probably best to avoid those unless you're just like a lottery ticket player and you're just trying to, shoot the moon kind of thing. Well, sure, whatever. You want to put $1 onto a ticket and see if it wins you $1,000,000. Good luck. You can always pray, right? Maybe it'll happen to you, right? The reality is, most people are not going to be lottery ticket winners. That's just the fact. But that doesn't mean you can't do it. It just means be careful managing your risk so you don't blow your wad. And when it comes to Bitcoin, a much more liquid and reliable asset in the sense of having the liquidity you need to trade it. Even if you're a billionaire, right? And even if you're putting $1 billion trades on the line or multi-billion-dollar trades on the line, right, there's plenty of liquidity in Bitcoin. You can do that. You might have to break it up between a few trades or a few different exchanges or what have you, but it's certainly possible to trade significant sums of money worth of Bitcoin. All right. We know that, for example, Michael Saylor has his company buying billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin, at least hundreds of millions of dollars every week, and sometimes more than $1 billion or more. We know that BlackRock similarly does that, and in fact holds more Bitcoin than Strategy, right? So Michael Saylor's Strategy company holds just about 600,000 Bitcoins and probably has broken that amount over the course of this week. We'll see, I guess, by Monday if he issues yet another report about his latest purchases. And just like we'll see whenever BlackRock releases their next amount that they've purchased. And in total, just those two companies, as I've mentioned many times. Oh, hello there. I see you and I see your message. Hello. Just those two companies own more than 1.3 million Bitcoin together, which is an insane amount, and it's more than one Nakamoto, right? And guess what? They each want one Nakamoto. A Nakamoto, in case you're not familiar, is an expression used to express 1 million Bitcoins, right? So there are 21 Nakamotos worth of Bitcoin max cap supply, of which more than 19 million, almost 19.9 million or something like that, have been mined. And Michael Saylor wants to have at least one Nakamoto under management at Strategy, and so does BlackRock, and so does 21 Capital, and so do a lot of other companies. Who knows which ones, if any, will actually get there. But the point is, there's not a lot of Bitcoin to go around, right? There's only 21 million Bitcoin in total. So if even one company has a Nakamoto, it's going to be really hard for any other company to get it when there's so many companies vying to buy as much as possible, especially when you're seeing, like, literally every day another company saying, we're going to be buying we just bought $10 million worth of Bitcoin and we intend to buy 100 million. Or we just bought $100 million worth of Bitcoin and we intend to buy $1 billion. So the supply, as I've been explaining for a long time on this channel, has been dwindling and dwindling and dwindling. The available circulating supply in wallets where sellers are willing to, where holders are willing to sell. We've seen that the vast majority of coins are being held in wallets by holders who are not willing to sell. How do we know that? Well, they've been holding in their wallets for at least 5 years, in many cases 10 years or more, with no indication that they want to sell. If they didn't sell in the last 10 years, why would they sell now? You mean like it's now become institutionalized, right? Bitcoin, it's now become a thing that every financial institution wants to have as much as they possibly can. Governments want it. It's not just whales who've accumulated Bitcoin over the past 16 years, right? It's financial institutions and governments, hedge funds, investment firms, HFT firms, you name it, ETF issuers. They all want as much of it as possible because they know it's going to be, whether I like it or not, a standard in the future of finance. It doesn't matter if I like it or not. And look, to me, I'm very much a proponent of the original ethos of Bitcoin, not so much a proponent of the current ethos of Bitcoin. If you're not familiar between the two, you should read about it. Read the original white paper at the very least. The Bitcoin white paper. What is the point of it? To be an electronic peer-to-peer cash system and network that can secure itself as well as create the coins through the mining algorithm. And it is not made for large investment powerhouses and large money bags and big whales. It is made for the everyday person. Yes, sure. It was always a possibility that we would see it come to where it is, and it was almost inevitable. But to those Johnny-come-latelys like Michael Saylor who say, "Oh, when I discovered what it could do, I went to sleep at night. I couldn't sleep at night because I was fearful that someone else would discover what it can be, and then they would get it all before me." It's frankly a very arrogant and brash thing for him to say, because he didn't discover that. In fact, he's very late in the game of the earliest adopters. He's not an early adopter in that sense, like among the first decade, right? In fact, in the early years of Bitcoin, he laughed it off and said it was basically garbage. Look at his old tweets that are still up. Right, to his credit, yes, he got orange pilled or whatever you want to say, and he saw the light. But for him to claim that he discovered somehow that Bitcoin, can do these amazing things or is going to be this powerful financial asset is frankly a little insulting, and more than a little, to anybody that frankly knew that before him, long before him. The only difference is that he happens to have more capital than they ever did, and he happened to have more capital available thanks to his previous business, which he still runs, which was in the software business. So good for him for having a lot of capital at his disposal and having the ability to accumulate massive amounts. But for him to claim that he discovered it, I mean, it's frankly, patronizing and arrogant, to say the least. And again, maybe he just meant, well, what I meant was something that I discovered for myself that other people already knew. But that's certainly not how it comes off. And he certainly likes to position himself as some kind of like early cheerleader of Bitcoin. He's not an early cheerleader of Bitcoin. He didn't start cheerleading Bitcoin until 2020, when it was made bloody obvious to him that this thing was going to have a hell of a future. And guess what? It's about to have another hell of a future because of the VEPs. Take a look at how it's doing, and you will see for yourself it is set to go very high. When? Well, supply shock is incoming. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.